Good morning and welcome to Nigeria Now on your digital first Pan-African News Network, TOS Television, the program which brings you news analysis across major national dailies here in Nigeria. My name is Sagir Ibrahim, and with me in the studio as always is the sub-editor of TOS TV Network here, and that's Mr. Adebayo Fajimi. Good morning, Mr. Adebayo.
Good morning, Mr. Sagir.
Yes, nice to see you once again.
It's a pleasure.
Yes, so let's just dive straight into it. We have the Blueprint newspaper here this morning, and for the banner headline on the Blueprint newspaper, we see Katsina Monarch cries out for fear of bandits, 8 village heads abandon domains. A couple of riders underneath that headline says Batari local government headquarters overwhelmed by IDPs. Fleeing Zamfara bandits regrouping in Niger, Shiroro residents. Sokoto 2 as Tambuwal shuts telecoms in 14 local government areas. FCT assures students safety. So, Mr. Adebayo, I want to ask, because it's seeming like it's becoming more and more difficult for, Nigerians to access rudimentary and elementary amenities now by the day because of the current state of insecurity across the various regions of the country. We see what's going on in the southeast thanks to the sit-at-home order, ordered by the proscribed IPOB, and we're seeing what's happening in the north, through the northwest and north central. That's the issue of banditry and kidnapping. We're seeing a replication of or something similar in the northeast, or an escalation per se, because it's terrorism going on in the northeast. And the southwest has its own, bouts of challenges as well. So what you have to say to the fact that it is now becoming, more and more difficult for Nigerians to even have access to basic human rights and basic facilities in their own fatherland?
My take is that I want to start by quoting Barack Obama, the 44th president of America, who said our ideologies cannot be won by gun, but by ideas. And if you see what has happened, especially in the northern parts, especially Samvara and other parts,
yes.
of the northern part recently, though we want to believe that Nigerian troop, have taken battle to these people and they are winning the war. But see, most of the people there, especially some leaders, say, this war is not yet over. That these people are still regrouping, and that they are also, spreading across, some certain states and all of that. So that tells us that the war is not yet over, and it cannot majorly be won by by gun alone. It is there is need for us to churn out ideas. And if you look at it critically, something led us to this state,
Yes.
Whereby people say, okay, most of these people, I saw a clip about 2 weeks ago, and I saw young people between the ages of 18 and 20s. Most of these people are the one perpetrating these evil acts. So something led to this particular level. So it is high time we churn out ideas and look into it critically, because if we say we want to, confront these people by gun alone, honestly, I'm not very sure that we're going to win the war. So now, terrorism, the way it is now, and banditry, whatever you call it, cannot only be won by that. These people, if we catch them young, if we give them the necessary, in fact, somebody once said that we should address this issue mostly with education, because if people, are enlightened, you have a sense of responsibility. How can somebody just? It will be difficult for anybody to lure you into evil act, because you are busy, you are enlightened, you know what is right and what is not right. So it will be so difficult for anybody to lure you into any evil act. So I think that is the way to go now, because as long as this continues, and we are just taking the battle to them with guns and all of that, without assessing the situation with good idea, sound idea to address it. Honestly, we are still going to continue, the same way, and at the end of the day, we'll not win the war.
All right, so we see a replication of what happened in Zamfara State, in Sokoto State now, talking about the directive by the state governor for the shutdown of telecommunications network in about 14 local governments out of its 23 local governments. So it seems like what happened in Zamfara following the shutdown was a success, and we see a replication. However, do you feel, the replication is going to lead to as much success as we saw in Zamfara State?
Or even if it leads to huge success, can it completely eradicate the problem?
I think that's the big question.
So that is the issue. And we have heard over and over that, see, these people are spreading. They already have escape route. Are we sure that all these people have been completely eradicated, they have been neutralized? That is the issue. But even as we are doing that, we should always come back and ensure that we come out with some idea, a very good approach to ensure that we tackle this and go back to the source. In fact, I'm talking about there in terms of going back to the source and address the issue so that the upcoming people who are likely to be potential, bandits or terrorists will not also join the group.
All right, so let's move to the Nigerian News Direct newspaper. From the very top there, we see open grazing now criminalized in Lagos as Sanwo-Olu assents to bill. So we've had conversations around the open grazing bill. Earlier we talked about how the open grazing law should not affect southern states, because when the grazing routes were created, southern states were not involved. So I just want your reaction on this headline, very quickly.
It's a very strong message to the center of what people of each state desire, and they have made their position, and so be it.
All right. So moving to the Daily Trust newspaper, for the banner headline there, we see how Boko Haram crisis killed 300,000 children in Northeast. Young boys used as suicide bombers, many died of malnutrition. 1 million others displaced in 12 years. Attacks on children must stop, and that's according to UNICEF. ISWAP intensifies recruitment, Army says. Experts, government must restore civil authority in ungoverned territories. So I want to ask, why is the issue of Boko Haram and its casualties, especially in Nigeria, being underplayed? Because it's clear that what's going on there is a genocide, but yet it's not being given as much credence as it should be here in Nigeria. If you can just answer that quickly.
Well, the issue of terrorism, especially this Boko Haram and all of that, well, it's so scary the way we address this issue, and we have also heard from some quarters that there are certain people financing these people. So which means except you expose those people, except you bring them to justice, because as long as we say, okay, we are fighting them, at the same time they also have backing from some certain quarters.
Yes.
So except that is really addressed, and we have this mind to live to our responsibilities as leaders. Honestly, I don't see anything happening, on a very positive side from that particular.
I would have loved for us to continue this conversation, especially around the financiers of Boko Haram. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time. So moving forward, we have the Daily Times newspaper. From the very top there, we see APC will support Oshibajo if he declares interest, and that's according to Governor Sule, talking about the 2023 upcoming election. Buhari government borrows to invest in capital projects, not consume, and that's according to Additional. A couple of other headlines there on the Daily Times newspaper. We move quickly to the Business Day newspaper, where we see on the banner headline, soon no one may buy Nigeria's crude oil, not even India. Quite interesting. A couple of other headlines on the Business Day newspaper. You could simply grab a copy to keep updated. And finally, on the Nigerian News Direct newspaper, we see NNPC records 39.13% increase in pipeline vandalism. Crude oil, gas sales of $219.75 million in May generates 2.345 trillion naira from sales of petroleum products in 1 year. You could grab a copy of the Nigerian News Direct newspaper as well as the other newspapers we spoke about to keep updated and get more information about what's happening here in Nigeria. And unfortunately, that's it for Nigeria Now this morning. Remember, Nigeria Now comes to you weekdays, Monday to Friday, on your digital first Pan-African News Network, TOS Television. And you could connect with us via various social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TOS TV Network. You could also watch Nigeria Now via our website at www.tostvnetwork.com, as well as watch a recap, as well as other programs by TOS TV Network via our YouTube page at TOS TV Network. Don't forget to like and subscribe. As always, my name is Sagir Ibrahim. I'll see you tomorrow.